How Ukraine is taking the war to Russia, despite having less power. In the vast stretch of Eastern Europe, a smaller nation continues to defy the odds. Ukraine, once expected to fall quickly under pressure from one of the world's largest militaries, is now pushing back, with resilience, strategy, and resolve. Despite having fewer resources, fewer weapons, and a smaller population, Ukraine is taking the war to Russia, and the world is watching. This isn't just a story of conflict. It's a story of determination, creativity, and the will to stand firm when the odds seem impossible. The early days, resistance against all odds. When the full-scale invasion began in February 2022, many believed Ukraine would fall within days. Russian forces moved rapidly toward Kyiv, launching missile strikes across the country. But instead of collapse, Ukraine mobilized. Civilians took up arms, reservists returned home, and ordinary citizens volunteered to help their communities survive and fight back. What surprised the world was Ukraine's spirit of resistance. Not with overwhelming firepower, but with purpose. The country transformed into a united front almost overnight. Smart strategy. Over sheer size, Ukraine knew it couldn't match Russia's military strength directly. Instead of trying to outgun their opponent, they chose to outsmart them. Using drones, mobile units, and local knowledge, Ukraine launched precision strikes on fuel depots, supply lines, and command centers. In Kharkiv and Kherson, Ukrainian forces used quick, coordinated movements to outmaneuver slower, more traditional Russian units. They didn't fight for every inch. They fought for impact, and it worked, turning weakness into innovation. With limited resources, Ukraine turned to creativity. Civilian tech experts worked with the military to modify commercial drones into strike platforms. Engineers repaired and repurposed old Soviet equipment. Farmers helped tow away abandoned tanks. The line between military and civilian blurred, with society working as one. One of Ukraine's biggest tools wasn't even a weapon. It was communication. President Volodymyr Zelensky and his government used social media, video addresses, and real-time updates to maintain public morale and rally international support. In contrast to more traditional top-down messages, Ukraine's approach was fast, emotional, and authentic. International support, but not everything at once. Yes, Ukraine has received support from the West, missile systems, financial aid, and training. But these tools arrived gradually, and often after intense lobbying. For much of the early fighting, Ukraine relied on legacy equipment, improvised defenses, and captured enemy gear. Even today, it operates with less advanced aircraft, limited air superiority, and fewer artillery shells compared to Russia. Yet Ukraine continues to hold and in some areas advance. The difference lies in motivation. Ukrainian troops fight to defend their homes, families, and future. That kind of drive can't be shipped in crates or trained in boot camps. It comes from within, taking the fight beyond the front lines. Despite having fewer long-range weapons, Ukraine has found ways to strike back, far beyond the front lines. From sabotage missions deep inside Russian territory to precision drone attacks on air bases, fuel storage, and infrastructure, Ukraine has shown it can reach into places once thought safe from harm. These operations aren't about destruction for its own sake. They're meant to disrupt logistics, shake confidence, and signal that nowhere is truly out of reach. And Ukraine does this while carefully managing international concerns, ensuring its actions don't escalate the conflict beyond its borders. A war of morale and meaning. This war isn't just about tanks and missiles. It's about narrative, endurance, and national identity. Russia has more firepower, but Ukraine has something powerful of its own, the moral clarity of defending its sovereignty and the unity of a people who refuse to be conquered. Even in occupied areas, resistance continues, quietly, steadily, with courage. Ukraine's story has inspired other nations, reminding the world that freedom, though fragile, is worth protecting. The road ahead, this war is far from over. Ukraine still faces daily missile attacks, economic pressure, and the fatigue of prolonged conflict. But the country has reshaped the battle on its terms. It has shown that a nation's strength isn't only measured in numbers, but in resilience, strategy, and heart. From the shattered buildings of Mariupol to the fields of Bakhmut and the streets of Kyiv, Ukraine continues to stand, not just against invasion, but for its right to exist, to decide its future, and to inspire others in the process. No matter how this war ends, history will remember how Ukraine fought back, not with overwhelming might, but with unstoppable will.